Hello. How you doing, guys and gals? How is it going today? What is good? Thank you for hitting that click button, checking out the video. Much appreciate that. Let's go. Intelligent person, individual that wants to learn, wants to grow. That's you. Oh yeah, that is you. How you doing today? Thank you for being here. We're going to continue on with this little project that kind of just, started. It began with, it was supposed to be just like, kind of like a setup video, how to set up your WPF application. We're working in Visual Studio 2022. I'm utilizing the .NET 4.8.1 framework right now with this program. Don't really want to talk about this occasional error that happens, but it might happen. Might even happen on the live stream, never know. But there is kind of a way to fix it, but it's still very, it's not a perfect fix by all means. It's a bit of a band-aid repair. Now I don't know if it has anything to do with maybe, I'm running my PC all day, kind of. Either I'm obviously streaming and then I'm working as well. So typically I'm doing whatever on the computer with Visual Studio for literally 14 hours, 7 days a week. So maybe by the time nighttime I start, getting these kind of basically program crash in the sense, like the program's not closing, but you can't really run the application. Maybe it'll happen, I don't know. If so, then I'll try to do a stream and a fix on that, but I don't know. I really don't know what to think of it, but I'm gonna kind of, so in all honesty, I create all these programs to get them going, and this is why I recommend you back up your code. I use Notepad, so save your code, otherwise you're going to end up typing it all over again. You can run the program, you can get your code, but it just won't build the application. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't, just depends on the kind of breakage that happens. So I end up starting the whole thing all over again. It's like going forwards, and then all of a sudden you're going backwards, and then I just can't win for chicken dinner, I just want to code. That's all I want to do. Make an application, make it happen, Anyways, thank you for listening to me. Let's get Visual Studio running. Okay. We're gonna bring up the program. It's still working so far. I was in it earlier. Had a little bit of a minor kind of argument from the program, but I did the band-aid fix and it seems to be okay. Just have patience, guys. If it happens, honestly, I'll show you how to kind of fix it. But for the most part, just going to continue creating this application. That's kind of what I'm doing, I guess. Let's build. Like I said, it started from just let's show you how to set up, just to get the setup. Get your styles and everything created, and then after a while I'm like, I don't know what else to do now. So we're just going to continue working in it and see where it takes us. I have no plan. It's just kind of random. So yeah, quick shout outs to the subscribers of the channel. I don't own you guys per se. I don't know why I say mine, but to the subscribers of the channel, thank you for being part of the channel and the community. You're you're awesome. Also, take notes. You guys are all winners and not quitters. So, take note of that. And viewers, you guys are awesome too. And those whoever clicks the like button and the views, you're awesome as well. Every single one of you legends. Okay, let's go, because I know if I continue talking and going yada 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 and on and on and on, and I know I can do that, and next thing you know, we're 50 minutes into the stream. Okay, what is XAML? Okay, what is XAML? Well, here's some general code, XAML code. Okay, now I recommend not to let it confuse the heck out of you. In all honesty, if you're kind of doing everything layer by layer, okay, so when you're doing everything layer by layer, it's more logical in your mind, it's more organized. Okay, it does look like a lot, but as you build your application, you know what's what, right? And everything has kind of an opening and a closing, right? Like here we have our main stack panel, and then inside here we have a grid for our first row, okay, and inside we have our grid definitions, and then I have rectangle fill. That's just, it's for our first row, and that's what all this is. So, and then again, this is the opening of the grid, this is the closing of the grid. That's all it is. Yeah, you have to have an opening and closing, okay? You can't single line like this. That's how you do a single line statement, if you will. Okay, and inside this row definition, well, it has an opening and a closing as well. Same thing with our rectangle, opening, closing, opening, closing. That's really all it is. It's, yeah, you see an extra code, but it's just an opening and closing. It's not duplicated code. There's nothing secret or special about it. It's just the program needs to know kind of where to begin and where to end, sort of thing, right? Okay, what is XAML? Well, I'm not going to get into too much. Let's see, coding tips and tricks. Let's see, what's this one? Hold down shift and press the up and down buttons for a quick highlight. Hold down shift. Whoa, see, that's pretty quick. Right, I'm just holding shift and just clicking. Okay, and then once you highlight what you want, so let's say I wanted to highlight, whoa, that wasn't supposed to go there. Okay, let's say I want to highlight all this. Actually, I want to highlight all this. I usually go like this, left to right. You can hit tab. I can move stuff back and forth. Hold shift to bring it back. Shift tab. Pretty much that's it for that. And what else? Well, that's that. There's also a little, let's say you want to change margin. I think it's Alt. Yeah, you hold Alt, highlight the section you want to change, and you can actually change info all at the same time. Isn't that pretty sick? Except we don't want it to say that. So we're going to leave it. I don't want to mess with the program too much. That's another little tip. Okay, XAML's extensible application markup language. Basically, XAML's for your design. Okay, guys. WinForms is nice because you don't have XAML, and I'm not trying to say that it's better. It's a bit of the old school way of doing, creating forms. It's great because you can go to your toolbox, drag and drop. You pretty much just go straight to design. You drag and drop wherever you want stuff. You can go to your properties, you can edit stuff, you can reposition it through your properties. It's not recommended to use your toolbox when you're working either in UWP or WPF applications, because the XAML code can get messed up. So in other words, just don't let the XAML code scare you. Just practice typing out some code and build your application. Follow the series from the beginning and try to help you to go through that. I know I don't do a lot of code typing, but I mean, things take time. So I've already typed the code up because I've created probably 50 different programs, and I've already typed up the code enough times. And like I said, I recommend you back up your code, your XAML code, and your CodeBehind as well, any classes that you create, and then that way you're not having to type it all over again. Maybe the application you're going to create, the next one, maybe it's going to have the same code or similar. Okay, each GUI element, so a GUI is just kind of what you see, right? User interface, graphical user interface, that's a GUI. So each GUI element, like a window or page, will consist of a XAML file and a CodeBehind, right? And your CodeBehind is the .cs file. Okay, this is the C+ code, or C+, C# code. That's C++ in my mind still, I guess. Okay, so when you're working with XAML or WPF applications, you're working in C#, okay? Which is fine. If you learn C++, jumping on to the C# bandwagon, you're gonna have an easy time, okay? The syntax and the code that's written is, different, but all in the same. The terminology, the can't find the word. Not just the terminology, but the basics and the background of coding in general is all the same, okay? Variables, data types, go on and on. Arrays and lists, they all coincide with each other, okay? I don't mean to get on I'm not good at explaining technical stuff. I could just do it. I understand it and I could just do it. So I guess that's why I'm not an instructor. Alright, the CS file CodeBehind handles all the events, okay? And has access to shape and manipulates the GUI elements. Each element needs an opening and closing tag, right? A label, for example. I don't know why that's mentioned there, but the XAML is kind of what we're talking about here. Opening and closing tag, okay? These are tags. Containers. Containers are stack panels and grids. They're containers, right? This stack panel is a container for all these buttons, okay? This grid is a container for everything that's in row 0, right? It holds everything, okay? So you can have a container within a container, right? And this rectangle fill essentially has its own container, but it's inside the grid. The grid is holding, so parent, child, if you will. Grid here is the parent, and everything inside would be the children. And for the stack panel, which is a container, well, I guess the children would be the buttons for the stack panel, right? So there's that. Mainly you're using either stack panels or grids for the most part, but there are others. Okay, use a grid if you want to define rows and columns. Okay, that's what grid is for. Defining rows and columns. Okay, you can't really see it here, but we have columns. I don't really have many rows going on. Or I have lots of rows. I don't know what I'm talking about half the time. So rows, rows, this is a row, this is all a row, this is a row, 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 row your boat. Right? And if you want to stack stuff, well, you're stacking like boxes. That's what a stack panel is. You're stacking stuff. You could either stack it vertically, or you could even, like these buttons here, stacked horizontally. Okay? What else could we say? Size to content. I haven't really done anything with that yet, but decides if Windows should resize itself to automatically fit its content. So that would probably be something utilized here up in the title. Okay. Show in taskbar. If set to false, your window won't be represented in the Windows taskbar. So it's another property of the title bar, essentially, or the window. Useful for non-primary windows or for applications that should minimize to the tray. Default value is true. Okay, that's called shown in taskbar. Right? Your program itself. Okay, let's see, what else? Let's go back to, so if we look at our class here, right, at runtime it is combined with the XAML file to make a full window. Okay, so that's what's kind of happening. They kind of merge together in a sense. It's all compiled together to create what you see here. So it's, in a sense, XAML code works with the CodeBehind, right? This combination is performed by the call to initialize components. Okay, that's this here. All right, this is a method, and that's how you call a function in a sense. Okay, functions, methods, I mean, they're very similar, but they have, like, methods are within a class. Okay, functions can be, you know, I don't want to get into that part of it all, but essentially this is a method. Okay, it's part of a class, and it might even say that here, right? So a void method, main window, part of main window. Okay, and that's really all the information it's giving. Okay, initialize component. It's kind of what makes the magic happen. All right. Go back to the XAML code here. XMLNS. Okay, what is that? All right, these are all your namespaces. Okay. XMLNS defines the namespace in which to resolve the XML element names. Okay, so these are kind of populated. These are populated automatically for you, okay, when you create the program. Same thing with this, okay? Sometimes you're gonna have to add this in, okay? For example, right, this here, this line, I need for my window resources, okay? And then this line here, well, I need that because I've created a class in my core folder, okay? This is a POCO, I believe that's what it's called. I don't know, I just think of it as a class with, it's got a private variable and it has a public string function because it is a function. You can have int functions, double functions, bool functions, and what this job, what its job is, it acts as, you know, basically, if you heard getters and setters, essentially that's what this is. Okay. A lot of times, if you're learning C++ or C#, especially in C++, you want to hide your variables. Certain variables you want to have private, It all has to do with classes and inheritance and encapsulation and such. Encapsulation. Okay, and then you got XML and S with a X here, this line. Okay. Dun-dun-dun. So that is a non-default namespace. It defines a qualified namespace for XAML specific elements. Okay. I don't have anything here, but this here would be an example, right? What this is doing. Okay, so I'm just gonna paste it somewhere down here, just in here. Okay, X namespace, right? When you create a label or a button, you give it an X name. That's kind of like a key in a sense. Okay, I want to undo that because I don't want it there. There are two name resolutions in this definition, right? So X name and, well, obviously we gave the name my label, but the label is an element, right? Label is an unqualified name. It will be resolved in the default namespace, which is WPF. The X name qualified with X will be resolved within the XAML document. Okay, just some little things. WPF Designer is a tool provided by Visual Studio that allows one to see what the user interface looks like without having to build and run the application, right? Kind of like a console app where you type all your code and you run it and the console app will pop up. You don't really see it until you run it, sort of thing. Here in this sense, you can see your designer, right? So, I mean, I hope you're not cringing, but you know, you can see your designer with your XAML code as well. Right? I could keep it like this, I guess, but I just prefer, I don't mind jumping back and forth. Some people they'll do the vertical or the horizontal split screen. Okay? You have that option. It's up to you, you know? You do you. Perpetuating a design state. I don't know, essentially what we've done here. Find height and width. What else? This is what tells the WPF designer which height and width to use, which display the width to use, which display the control in the designer. I can't even read my typing. Important, it has nothing to do with the actual height and width of the window or the control, okay? It's only for the designer. It's not going to have an effect or impact during runtime. Okay? So, size for the designer. In UWP, you can actually click different resolution sizes, I guess. Different, like you could select a 5-inch screen, or you could select a laptop size screen. You could select a 50-inch television screen. Obviously, you're not going to zoom to that size, but you can create your design within that size of window. All right, that's UWP. What else? XMLNS:MC stands for markup compatibility. MC, right here, this line. Markup compatibility. Okay. So when opening, for example, a Microsoft Word 2013 document with more added built-in features, let's say your 2013 Word document has more added built-in features as compared to a Microsoft Word 2010. Ideally, you want the document to remain interoperable with Word 2010, even though Word 2010 will not understand the new features. So it's interoperable, so you can kind of open a file that was created Word 2013 and open it in 2010. Essentially, that's what it means. Okay, it's markup compatibility. The D right here. Okay, the D. Shuddy in the mind. MC ignorable D. Okay, provides XAML definitions that are ignored by the XAML processor. Wow, things that you learn. Allows to specify properties used by the designer for which are ignored at runtime. Okay, that's all that is. XMLNS, XMLNS:MC, XMLNS:D, and MC:ignorable are considered as boilerplate code, often ignored and seldom changed. Right? Lots of terminology, you know, I know about, read about, but probably forget the next day. Boilerplate code are lines of code that are duplicated in multiple files or sections with little or no variation. If left out of the program, it will no longer compile. XMLNS local. Okay, this one's key, right? That's got the name of your program or your file name, right? Okay, that's local for the window. It is important in the sense that it defines how other controls defined in a project can be used in a XAML file. If we create a control in the root of a project, this can be referred in the following way, which is right here, right? I know this one isn't local, but it's similar in the same. Local : my custom control, for example. This tells the compiler where to find my custom control. This one was key. I was going to bring it up, right? When we're doing data binding here with this. I don't want to call it a POCO, but it's a class. It could be. When we're working with, was it our observable objects? And binding, right? When we were binding down here, if you want to see that, just check out the prior streams, okay? I might talk a little bit about it here. I want to keep going. I don't want to get off on a tangent here. But this is key, okay? Same thing with the namespace, right? That as well. The magic's not going to happen without it. All right. That's enough of that. Let's continue here. I'm winging it with this program or design. I don't really have a goal or a plan. I'm just throwing different stuff in, trying different things out, trying to make things happen, maybe even try to break it. Who knows? Not literally break it, but okay. I think I was going to update some lines here. Thank you for listening to that. Hopefully that helped you understand things a little bit better. Gonna have some coffee. Okay, yeah, yesterday I was working on this. Let's just run this, okay? Now here, which is nice, the part of the binding part that I was just talking about. This is so nice, it's slick, I really love it. There's a hidden label there. As soon as you bind it, it becomes hidden. But then anything you type within the text box is automatically populated, you know, immediately in our UI, which is great. This is kind of a dummy text box. Now, the reason it was there is because if you don't have this update source trigger, see if I can find some little notes on that. So going back to here, this code here, okay, you can utilize this code in any of your programs. Okay, it helps with, you know, things and, you know, making things happen in your UI. Okay, updating. So this code utilizes a reflection in order to update the UI. Okay, so how to make use of it? Well, the magic happens right here. We created a class, okay, and notice the public string. This is a string function with getters and setters, okay? And to make the magic happen with this code, right, you need this iNotify property changed, and you gotta have these namespaces as well. Okay, without it, the magic's not gonna happen. All right, so here's where we're binding. Notice the name, right? Okay, this is our public string name. We're binding to it. That's the link right there. And this here makes the magic happen because it's default. It's default by default. Weird to say that, but that's really what I mean. It's default by default. And so you have to actually update the source trigger and equal it to property changed so that when you're running it and typing in here, the magic's happening immediately in your UI. Okay, and we had to bind it as well to our label. Now I know I don't want to get off on a tangent here. Sometimes I do, like I do one thing and then I come up with an idea and I go to try something else, and it's like I got too much other background code going on. I don't really want to mess with everything else and kind of redesign what's happening. So I know I wanted to, going back to our designer, I wanted to, with this box here, I wanted to be able to return welcome and then the name via the label. Okay, I did try to figure it out and stuff yesterday, and then I just I was working on it, and then I had well, the program broke, so I had to start typing it all over again. Not this one, but I have another one. Okay, anyways, not to get on a tangent. So that's how that works. Right, so we're binding text box info and returning it to the UI via the label. Sweet. Okay, and the focus box, which is the other, this one here, I called it the focus box. Okay, so without that. Going here, okay, so without this line, okay, that's what the focus box is for. So if I was typing in here without that line, I wouldn't see the reflection of what I typed in the text box. The label until I click into it and change the focus again. Okay? From one focus to another. suppose just click into the second text box while the label is updated. Okay. And that would be the default then. So that's all that text box is doing. Now we got this here, kind of where we were at yesterday. And the code behind, I had it where, so we had to create code behind, we had to create what the public belongs to, non-private underscore. We're making it empty here, strings empty, right? It's kind of like null, just like anything. You need to initialize a value to an integer or a string or whatever, right? It needs to be initialized. C++ is big on that. I was kind of anal about that too, right? Because I didn't like my variables holding garbage. Okay, so there's our public string username. Okay, we declared it as empty. And then here we're saying username, right? This is our button send. Okay. So username equals text box username dot text. Okay. And then basically we just message boxed it out, which I didn't really want to. I wanted to message out. I didn't want to message box it. I wanted to display it on the screen instead, right? So here we go. It should have said type your name. I wanted to switch these actually. Go like this. Enter your name. Okay, something to that effect. Now it should be updated in our design. As soon as I run it, it'll build. I don't know why I hit build then run, but whatever. Okay, so enter your name. And then hit send. And there we go. We get a message box. User login. Welcome Johnny, right? Which is kind of nice. I guess it's okay, but I wanted it to display it through the label. And then after a while, I tried to figure it out and I just gave up. So, not just that, I had a program crash and I ended up having to recreate another program and build it again. So, that set me back a bit. All right, where are we for time here? I'm going to actually end it here. I know I didn't get a lot done, but I don't want it to be too long, so I'm going to title this something to the effect of what is XAML or something. Should have been my first stream, to be honest, but in all honesty, you can now see everything in the code, and it's easier to explain things when you actually have the code in front of you to explain it, right? So we're going to get into we're going to make some changes and do some additions and update this program. And thank you for watching. Thank you for being awesome. Continue being awesome, because you are awesome. Brothers and sisters, subscribers, you're all awesome. Viewers, those that click the like button. Legends, every single one of you. I'll see you guys in the next video. All right? Talk to you soon. Peace out.
Baby, I don't understand this. You're changing.